when you stop people pleasing, it will be very disruptive to those around you in your life, because the distorted pattern that you were living in was people pleasing. You're pleasing others, and really this root of the people pleasing is really seeking happiness. It's sort of this deal that you make. If I can make you happy, then you'll make me happy. That's really the gist of it. But it also shows up as other things that are a little bit more nuanced, that are very related to people pleasing. Seeking approval, seeking validation, seeking acceptance. These are all very interconnected with people pleasing. But when you stop people pleasing, meaning when you stop seeking happiness in others, then it's going to be very disruptive, because they were used to that dynamic. They were used to the deals. And when you realize that you are the happiness that you seek, you stop seeking that happiness in others. So you start experiencing this sovereignty. You're no longer codependent on your partner or your friends or your family. And when you end this dynamic, which is really the completion of that pattern, then it will disrupt things in your relationship with your partner, your kids, your friends, your family, your business. They can feel that. You don't want anything from them. You're not trying to make a deal. You're not playing that game of exchange. I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back. I'll try and make you happy, and you try and make me happy. And that distortion that tries to extract happiness out of another because one hasn't found it within themselves. That sort of distortion, that pattern, that dynamic comes to an end. And when that comes to an end, it's very disruptive for your partner, your friends, or your family. They can sense how you don't need anything from them in the way you once thought you did. You're not trying to extract anything from them. You no longer treat the relationship as transactional. Now you see the relationship as transformational. And by you actually completing that process, that pattern, you start seeing how it's naturally leading to the collapse of that pattern. When you complete it, when you end it, then you see how it sort of takes two to play that game. I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. This is the deal we're making in our marriage. This is the deal we're making at the office. It's this kind of transaction, this deal that's done. You're done making deals. And you see those who still want to make the deal, those who are still trying to exchange with you. It's sort of like, your money's no good here. Because you're not trying to buy anything and you're not trying to sell anything. And the one that's still trying to do that deal, the one that's still trying to buy their happiness, exchange goods to receive that happiness, they are left with themselves. And that's exactly what they need. In fact, that's all they need. So you declining to play that game is not rejection, it's redirection. You're redirecting them. It's not in me. You're not going to get it from me. Turn around, go within. It's sort of like that, if it could speak. But that silent redirection then becomes their teacher in that moment. You don't need to do anything. It's actually because you've stopped doing something, because you stopped playing the game, because you stopped exchanging, because you stopped people pleasing. It becomes the teaching for your partner or those around you. And they see that you found something that is independent of them. You can't be manipulated anymore. You can't be corrupted in the way that that pattern was playing out. Could have been a power dynamic. Could have been just a simple exchange. But really, it exposes that false structure, the way that the relationship was set up in the first place, based on need, not on love. And this need was just an exchange of that which was unsaid. It was like this unsaid agreement that you didn't even realize you had agreed to. And it becomes exposed the moment you see it. And when you stop playing that game, when you complete that pattern within yourself, it's like you've ended that agreement. Now, of course, those who had agreed to this agreement with you will be upset. Because you were seen as a sort of supply, a source for their happiness. But really they weren't getting happiness from you. They weren't experiencing happiness from you. They were experiencing relief, not happiness. And their relief that they were getting from you in that agreement was also preventing them, was more or less an escape from themselves. So when you're not relieving them, when you're no longer that escape, then they are left with themselves. This is the redirection. You, as the happiness store, is out of business. They have to go elsewhere to get what they want. And this redirection is exactly what they need, because it directs them inward. They stop coming to you and they start going within. It's what they need, and it's all they need. They just need to go within, because that's exactly where you discovered the happiness that you seek. You realize that it doesn't come from your partner, no matter how much you love them. It doesn't come from your kids. It doesn't matter if they're blood. It doesn't come from your career. It doesn't matter the paycheck. You found that unconditional happiness within yourself. And because it has no conditions, it's independent of everyone, everything. And that's what they start sensing. So this disruption, which can look like your partner getting angry, your colleagues getting angry, upset, frustrated, irritated, often looks like tantrums. These tantrums are because people aren't getting what they want. They used to get what they want from you, and now they're not getting what they want, because you're not in that exchange pattern anymore. You're not making a deal with them. It's not this manipulation that we often call love. It's not this transaction that we often call love. It's not this avoidance that we often call love. So they are redirected. And that's sort of the last thing that they want to do, is turn within. Because they have to face themselves. And that's exactly what they were avoiding. They didn't want to face the truth. And this exchange, this relationship, kept them in that seeking energy. Kept them as that seeking energy. So your redirection disrupts that pattern. And they can now go within, where they can discover the same unconditional happiness that you have, and ultimately discover that unconditional happiness as their true self as well. If you want to start integrating your realization so that it's lived, it's embodied, it's expressed in the everyday. So you can not just realize truth, but live as truth. Then join me in living truth.